Hello everyone and welcome back to my Metal Gear Solid 1 Integral Alternate Round walkthrough. I'm kind of glad that's the last time I have to say that rather long-winded intro, but this is the final part. It's everything we need from just collecting the Palkey from the sewer rat, basically. Although we managed to use the mine detector and avoid all that if you saw it in the last part. But this is the final one. We're going to do everything from that point on to the end of the game, and everybody's favourite part, which is, of course, the freezing and the reheating of this stupid damn PAL keycard. My big piece of advice is to make sure you collect as much ammunition. I may mention this in the last one, but make sure you collect any ammunition now in this area, because you can basically get full Stinger missiles. You don't want to have to be doing that when you've got a frozen keycard or a heated one, particularly a heated one, because my god, it's never happened to me ever in my many times of playing this video game, but I've never lost like the keycard status. It's never gone back to room temperature for me, but I can only imagine just how that would go. If you happen to be watching this and you've got any funny stories about maybe when you played this game for the first time as a kid or even as an adult and it caught you off guard and you accidentally dilly-dallied just a little bit too much or you didn't quite understand the rules of how it worked and you ended up losing the keycard and had to backtrack all the way again, let me know, because that must have been some of the most frustrating thing that could ever happen to anybody. I mean, I still kind of get a little stressed myself when I play this game, but I mean, I already knew when I was playing through this game what to do, because this game was pretty much my dad's favourite on the platform, and he kind of told me what to do. He said, you just got to run like hell, I think were the exact words I got, like, run like hell, especially when you've heated that damn keycard, because I remember when he was telling me, and I was like, damn, you've got to go all the way back to the blast furnace. I was like, what the hell? And again, I mean, we kind of discussed this in the last part. It's annoying now, and God, I hate playing through this part of the game every time, but backtracking really was a common thing in video games. It. You play any old school video game from around that time, it's going to have some degree of backtracking, and let's just say not every game is as good as Resident Evil. Resident Evil nailed it. Very few other games did, I would say, in terms of the backtracking. There are other examples, but they're not coming to my mind at this moment in time. But, so I apologise if I've not mentioned your favourite in that, but the main example I can think of is Resident Evil. But yeah, so everyone was having having a stab at it, and unfortunately Metal Gear Solid was just not quite at that level, and unfortunately it makes this rather frustrating part of the game. It would have been nice if perhaps we could get a remake of this game. I am kind of down for a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake in some aspects to see how you could fine-tune that. You'd probably have to make a lot of things bigger. But for what it's worth, I'm glad that Metal Gear Solid 3 is the one getting the remake and not Metal Gear Solid 1. Because Metal Gear Solid 1 gets a lot of love. You think back to MGS5 Ground Zeroes as well, and it's already been remade once. But MGS3 always felt a bit overlooked, and it was always really bizarre to me. And by the way, this is the hardest bit of the game. Look at that guy, wait for him to go down there, and then run like hell. And keep tapping R1, that reduces your noise. But getting past that guard was a work of art. I think I had to cut about 10 minutes of failed footage there, because I just had to try and get the timing down. That is very intimidating to do, and there's not much more I can say to you other than run really close, look in first person, wait for it to turn and go. The timing will take you a couple of times to get it down. I highly doubt you can do that first time if you've not done it before, but you're going to watch me do it. I never failed again, basically, after that, because you're going to see me do that twice more, I think. Or is it just once more? It's once more, isn't it? Yeah. And it wasn't an issue. So, honestly, trust me, you get that down once, and it's a doozy from there, so don't stress it. You'll absolutely blitz it. You've come too far now to mess up, so I'm going to get you through this game no matter what. As we have 2 boss fights left. I mean, I don't really count Liquid Snake and the Jeep, because it's not really a boss. It's a quasi-boss fight, I suppose, kind of a boss fight, because he's going to pump for you full of lead, but I mean, that was very frustrating without rations. It's like the first time I've ever done it without rations, and it posed quite a threat to me, but you just have to get used to the pattern. It's not too tricky. But as I was saying, it's nice to see Metal Gear Solid 3 get a bit of love, because as I say, MGS1's always got all the love. And that's absolutely fine. We all love MGS1, but it's nice to see 3 get that much needed attention, because 3 is, I think, the fans' favourite across the board. But interestingly, was the least selling one at the time of the main. It still is the lowest selling MGS Metal Gear Solid game, isn't it, out of the main 5? Well, the numbered 5, shall we say. I think that a lot of that is to do with Metal Gear Solid 2's kind of backlash. Metal Gear Solid 2, I mean, whenever you say the backlash, Metal Gear Solid 2 reviewed amazingly, sold unbelievably well, but it, the whole riding thing kind of rubbed people the wrong way. So I think the hype for 3 was a lot lower. And I think that kind of helped in the end because, Kojima just made a game that he wanted to and it was phenomenal. No trying to meet fan expectation, not trying to overstep it, Not that I think, Kojima wanted to make the game he wanted to make an MGS2 and that's fine, but I think perhaps it just needed toning back a bit, just back to what everyone wanted, which at the end of the day is stealth action with a bit of political intrigue. And there's no better real setting than that than the height of the Cold War, or the first. Cold War's kind of split into two parts, and you got the 60s and the 80s, which are the main parts. So sticking it bang in the 80s, 60s was a great choice. And it's a shame that the MGS5 really didn't take advantage of being in the 80s. You got one brief codec call, or one audio tape about Reagan being president and how he's done things, and that was it. In terms of freezing the PAL key card, you'll already know this, because if you're doing this mode, it's your second time through. It takes 60 seconds, I think. When I once watched a speedrunner play this game, they said it took 60 seconds. So you literally just stand there. There's nothing to it. Definitely one of my least favourite parts of that whole process. I mean, I'm glad there's no more busy work. I mean, could you imagine if you had to do something specific to freeze the keycard that was a real pain in the ass? That would not have been fun, but it's just standing there for 60 seconds is not very engaging, is it? But we're going to make our way back up, and we're going to repeat the same strategy on this guard, so I'm not going to talk too much through it, but we are coming up to a very interesting moment that I'll address when we get there. But I just want to take 5 seconds or so, a bit longer even, to talk about this series that I did, and I have to say, it's been one of my more successful series on the channel. I've always been a bit reluctant to do Metal Gear Solid stuff, because to me it's just my favourite series, and I'm always a bit worried about covering it, because I think, is it really going to get any traction on the series? Should I be focusing on other projects? But Metal Gear Solid, hands down, has done really well on this channel pretty much every time. I think of the recall files on MGS2, that was incredible. The Metal Gear Solid 1, no death run, was a little less successful, but still pretty good for this channel. And this integral alternate round walkthrough, which I thought was the most niche thing ever, that I just did out of a pure passion project more than anything, has actually turned back some pretty good views and interaction. I mean, I've had a regular commenter on the videos. I think it was Glitch and that. I've really enjoyed interacting with you and reading your comments, putting a huge smile on my face, bud. So thank you so much for your interactions with the channel, your comments, and all that. Helps the channel out massively. So massively appreciate that, and I assume you have added to my subscriber growth. And this is this guard, by the way, real quick. Do exactly that, run, and then run like hell. The timing is so difficult there, but you'll get it, trust me. But yeah, again, massive thank you. I've recently had a flurry of subscribers that have pushed me past the 100 mark, which is a real joy. And to the regular viewers of the channel as well, the 100 subscriber special that I still haven't decided on is still very much in my mind. It will get done at some point. Probably when I've got through the next few projects that I'm on. Currently finishing off Black Ops 6 playthrough. That'll be done very soon. There's not a right left for me to do in that game. I think I've got 2 more levels to actually play, so it's just a case of uploading all the damn thing. So it's all good really, and then once that's done, we're going to do Metal Gear Solid 1, 2 and 3 and Siphon Filter 1, 2 and 3 all simultaneously, back to back. That's going to be quite a gargantuan prospect. Not in terms of effort, in terms of editing. There's going to be very little editing, but a lot to play through and a lot to upload. But it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, and I know I'm just going to absolutely love it. And 3 games I really enjoy. Less so with Siphon Filter 3, but it's still good. And I'm really looking forward to covering Siphon Filter because it's been a big part of the channel recently. And the Siphon Filter level ranking videos were the hardest work I've ever put into any videos, but I'm so proud of my efforts on them, and I'm so glad the videos did well. But here's the moment. I'm going to shut up now. I wish I did this live again for my live reaction, because what was this? Look at this. 4 guards all just stood in the middle, blocking you off. If I was playing this on extreme difficulty or hard, I'd have been screwed. I'd have run straight into that. And this is one of those moments where I kind of wish the game had done this more with the alternate round, because this was so unexpected. I mean, usually there's 2 or 3 guards in here that you can honestly just run straight past. There's no stress to it. But getting this was awesome. I mean, really easy to sneak past ultimately, but my live reaction was something else. I was like, wow, why didn't alternate round kind of do that a bit more? I think that would have been really awesome if they'd really committed to that kind of difficulty, but they save it for the last few rooms. I mean, I think the thing with Metal Gear Solid is when you actually break it down, I think the YouTube content creator was called Matthew Matosis, something like that. He did he did One to Peace Walker, and he sort of said when you boil Metal Gear Solid 1 down, it is so short, and there's actually very little stealth in it. There's not even that many rooms in the damn game. Um, because they very much committed to not repeating any rooms. You just think about it. You never sneak through the same real environment twice or replicas of environments. There's certainly no Halo 1 going on here where it's corridor central. It's always different, always keeping you on your toes. And while that's great, but it must have been a great strain on the art directors and stuff, and they probably ran out of stuff to create in the end. So you end up with these incredibly distinct areas to sneak through, but could they have done 2 blast furnaces with just some slight variation? Possibly so. Would they have made the game less good, less thrilling, and less memorable? Also true, because as someone who didn't grow up with Halo but played it like 16 years or 17 years after its release, thought it felt amazing, was great, but I got really tired of that game at times because some missions like the 5th one, is it Assault in the Control Room? Possibly, don't quote me on that. Can't remember if that's the right level I'm thinking of, but it was like 4 bridges at the exact same 9 9 circular hallways or something, and I was just like, wow, it was just pure frustration. I mean, if you've grown up with Halo, you probably love it, much like I don't, or you at least don't mind it. Whereas it's like this with me, I don't mind this keycard hunt or freezing and heating the damn thing. If you didn't grow up with Metal Gear Solid, you probably think this is garbage and probably makes you hate even think about booting the game up, which I totally get. So I understand, but yeah, it's an interesting discussion you can have. Is it better to sacrifice length, perhaps, for more individuality? And I can't think of what would be a good word to follow that up with, but if you could, I'm sure the point I'm trying to make is coming across despite my lack of words that are coming to mind. Would they have been better just using some of the more same rooms, like making another cavern area, which is the opening part of the game? There's no other map in the game that's like that. It's incredible, with the forklift and all the crates. I mean, the Vulcan Raven boss fight has a similar-ish structure, but it's totally different. So, an interesting debate that can definitely be had. And I was trying to think then, actually, Devil May Cry is another example of backtracking. And by 2001, I think we're all getting a bit sick and tired of it. But Devil May Cry, in comparison to Metal Gear Solid 1, that game kind of knew how to use its limited space, because you go to a lot of the areas the same way, but they're always a slight tweak and such. Maybe they could have done that with Metal Gear Solid, but I think what they did really well. I just think MGS2 probably did it better, where they just had you going through the same struts in different ways. I definitely prefer just playing MGS2 now than MGS1, because there's so much more to the gameplay and different mechanics at play. MGS1 feels very basic in comparison. As I said before, I'd love to play Twin Snakes, because I was going to mention earlier, if those that know Twin Snakes actually cut out the backtracking if you wanted. In the Rex layer, there is a section where you can drop down, and there are 2 pipes, and one, if you shoot, one will freeze the card, one will heat it up, so you can skip the entire backtracking sequence. And one other little neat thing they did, and I didn't actually realise this, is there's no ladders in Rex's lair. It's just stairs, so there's no load times. So, for all the flack Twin Snakes gets, and a lot of it deservedly so, speaking of someone who's ever played it, but I'm thinking purely of the cutscenes and how ridiculous they are, that's actually a very good change. So, props to, is it Silicon Knights they were called? Something like that developed the game? Yeah, great stuff with that. Shame about the voice acting. That's one of my biggest gripes to that game. The voice acting is actually so bad. It's not just that they re-recorded the lines, but I just think the deliveries are just so wrong. They're so below the level of other Metal Gear Solid games. I can't believe it. Even David Hayter sounds... certainly not phoning it in. I don't want to use the term phoning it in, but it's just nowhere near the level that they had in the other games. It's bizarre how much it dropped off, basically. I mean, the big travesty with that game is, of course, they couldn't use this game, rather. They couldn't reuse the original voice acting, because they found that the audio was... When they cleaned it up, there was, where they recorded it, there wasn't stuff blocking out outside noise. So in the whatever area or facility they were using, you could hear, trucks driving in the background and stuff like that, and it was included in the audio. I mean, could there not have been a way to mask that? because, MGS1's audio does sound a bit. I don't know what the word is at times, but it's got like a lot of noise buffer to it. That the buffer is the best word I can think of, but there's a lot of other noise on top of it. It's not very. It's like not the crispest delivery. It's not clean. It cleans up. Yeah, the clean is probably the best word, but it still sounds amazing, and I kind of love the tone it adds. It all fits in very well. So, if you could remake MGS1 on current hardware, couldn't you just port that over and just keep that the way it is? Would it? I think sometimes game devs think too much into things like that. Like they think, oh, it's got to be the crispest vocals ever. It's got to be spot on. Not realizing that in some ways you kind of tamper. There's a love for those original vocals, and if you try and redo something that was so pretty much spot on, and a lot of aspects from just one in terms of gameplay haven't aged well as you'd expect, but voice acting is not one of those. It's all aged fantastic, and the story has aged really well as well. It's like rewatching some of your favorite 80s and 90s action movies. They just get better and better on each rewatch, really. But as I say, I think devs sometimes read too much into high fidelity and sharpness and stuff like that. I mean, MGS3, thank the Lord, is actually just using the original voice acting. Going to be interesting how it meshes with, having said all what I've just said, it's going to be interesting how it meshes with those visuals, how well it's going to come across. It'll be absolutely fine. It might take a little bit of getting used to, because you're probably used to hearing that attached to PS2 graphics. So it'd be interesting to see how that comes along. I think it'd be absolutely fine, but I can understand why, there might be some reservations at first. But I think that MGS3 will be a good test to see how that is. I don't know, did they say they've done some extra dialogue for the game? Because they've got the cast back. I watched a video on it, I think it was IGN, unfortunately, but IGN were like promoting the game, and they had David Hayter, Laurie Allen, who was the boss, and Eva, who nobody knew the name of, who nobody knew who she was until ages ago. Because I think it's down as Suzette Minet or something like that. But that is not a real person. It's like a pseudonym. But I can't remember if it actually was. But they actually managed to find it, because there's been rumours for years that it's the voice actress that does Meryl. Did Eva. But it's been one of those weird secrets that nobody's been able to ever get to. But I think it's finally been revealed. Kind of like the Resident Evil 1 cast. How for years everybody tried a long time to track them guys down. And I think they found Barry, and they definitely found Chris. I think the one person they can never find is Jill. I think Jill is she's impossible to find. And I always wonder for those actors, because they just picked I don't think they were all high school students. I think Jill certainly was like a high school student. But they just picked these actors who were American and in Japan. Not real great actors. They shot it all cheap with the opening cinematic. And it's all it's quite such a embarrassing, amateurish opening for one of the most legendary video games ever. But I ever wonder, I mean, we kind of know the answer now with a few of these actors, like Chris and stuff like that, but do any of them actors look and think, damn, I was, when they see trailers for Resident Evil 8 Village and the series is still going on, do they ever look at that and think, man, I was a part of that? I hope they do, because it was, it's something to be proud of, regardless of how that comes across, even if some of them look like some really dodgy videos that you might find on the internet, especially them ending chopper sequences. Damn. But anyway, I've got to talk shop, because we're going to put in the final key card. That will trigger an alert. Phone autocon if you've forgotten. I mean, I can't see how you would have done. The game will pretty much scream at you to do it. Equip the gas mask. You don't actually need the gas mask, because I don't think the gas stays long enough to kill you. Because the game has to prepare for you not to have the gas mask. So I just think your health will get a little bit lower. But just hang around. It barely takes any time. And autocon's going to open this door for you. And then it's going to be a case of follow liquid, as we'll briefly see him here. I think I equipped the body armor. That's what I want to be doing anyway. That's correct. And the stinger, so it's all equipped and ready. But I don't think that actually saves. But I try and glitch the game here. I head left out of interest, but it's quite interesting if you just head left here. The game just kind of shoves you back to where you belong, basically. Yeah, that's how it does it. The game's just like, no, get back. So that's what I mean about picking up ammo and supplies. You can't screw around there. But anyway, boss fight time. I would like to say I'm very good at Rex. So if you follow this, it should get you through. I always find hitting the radome a lot easier than fighting the main cockpit earlier, but the main trick is to sort of trigger the miss. You don't want these missiles that are firing at me now, but if the missiles fire at you, they're free. Simply run at Rex, because you know they won't catch up. Machine guns just run to the side to avoid, and the laser is the most important thing to avoid. Just don't run in a straight line with the laser. But the trick is to try and bait some of these attacks. As I say, if you can try and bait the laser, it's great, because you can really get around quite easily. But the missiles can be the most intimidating thing, but honestly, just run towards Rex and you've got nothing to fear. I mean, baiting the missiles is quite useful by standing at a distance, equipping the missile quickly, a stinger, firing, running towards, dodge the laser. You want to get into basically a pattern like that. I do take a lot of MG fire, and that's because MG fire, as you can see with body armor, does so little damage that I can kind of take it. As long as you aren't being hit by the laser or the missiles, then you are honestly absolutely fine. The trick is to just keep moving though. And there you go, first phase done. I'd like to say that's possibly the best I've ever done that. Buying them 2 really amateurish hits, that was fantastic. But you need to take a breather. That's why I've included this, to take a breather for myself as well. Because the second phase is the important one. One of the worst aspects of this game is that if you die in that first bit, or the second bit, sorry, you have to do with this first bit and this stupid cutscene again. Why, if you've not already died, you can't just skip this, I don't know, because it's all very cool the first time you play the game and when you're experiencing the story for however number of time you're playing this, but, you know, come your playthrough later, you are kind of done with this. But here you go, machine guns to start with, that'll trigger a rocket strike, but it's just the same, but I just find that hitting the cockpit's just a tad harder for me, and I don't really know why. As you can see, like, normally on the radome that shot would have counted, but in the cockpit, the hitbox is a little bit tighter, so that's what makes that a little bit more tricky. But Rex has a hard time finding me. Exploiting the pathfinding is a very useful skill, more so in MGS2. But if you can get Rex turning like that, it's fantastic, because you know you're going to get easily one easy hit on the guy. That's not a very good position, but that worked. But look, some of these missiles were just not hitting, and that was annoying, because I think this could have been a really clean run if it wasn't for that. But alas, you can't get everything you want, so... But we've got more than enough health. We can take quite a bit of damage, but that's 2 really easy hits. And one side note about this boss fight that I recently learned, that it is more than possible to do this with the sniper rifle. You'd have to be hella skilled to do it, but you can shoot him with the sniper rifle and do massive damage, which is an awesome thing. That the things that make Metal Gear Solid so great is you discover things decades later. There's not many video games like that, but what a run this has been. So just follow a pattern like this. If you're struggling, this is probably one of the best videos you can see on YouTube without, you know, I don't blow my own trumpet, but I generally think that's one of the best videos you'll see on that boss fight. I barely took any damage, about 4 hits. But straight into the liquid fight, so no pauses for me. As you can tell by this intro, I died, and I had such an epic fight. I should have beaten him on my first go here. Liquid has got my number these days, because it went right down to the wire, and I really thought I was going to sneak a win, but he just got me. And the trick with this boss fight is to just be a little bit patient, I find. Kind of use your own playstyle, but you want to bait that kick every time. You throw one punch and he'll duck. Run away and then let him do his spin kick like that, and then you can go in and get a few hits. If you ever want to reposition Liquid, throwing him is a useful strategy. I don't really use it enough, but like that, and you can follow up with some good hits, even though I missed there. But the trick is to bait things, never get hit by the headbutt. It's such an easy attack to avoid, so please don't make my mistake, like I am doing here. When Liquid gets into his punching phase like that, only tap him once if you're not convinced the combo will work, because otherwise he's just going to tank through you and hit you with 2 big cross rights, cross left and across right. They do massive damage, and when he throws in a kick, it's devastating. So give him a little jab and then run like hell. When he does the kick, do a free. If you get a bit nervous, give him a chuck like that, you can set up even better. But yeah, if you aren't getting the kick in, it's generally going to be a bad time for you once he's alert. As you say, just get a tap in, because it's all damage that's working at the end of the day. You know, you're still doing a third of the damage you would have done with a full combo, but that's a bad position to get in. Kind of got away with that one, really, but yeah. You want to basically get him into a spot like this, and this was a pretty good run. Got annoyed there, got caught. I think even this fight went to the wire. It still amazes me, but for the longest time in my life, what a hit that was, by the way. For the longest time in my MGS1 days, I could do this boss fight without dying on normal difficulty. Now it's like guaranteed 5 times, 3 to 5 times, and I know it's all gone wrong. Spoilers for my Metal Gear Solid 1, Can I Beat the Game Without Dying? This is how far I got. I literally got to the end, I would have done it if it wasn't for this damn bastard. He's got my number these days, and it really is frustrating. The worst part was in that run that I mentioned that's sadly long deleted now. I had it down, so we were both on a sliver of health. I beat him, his health was down, but because I didn't punch him off the end of Rex, it didn't count. And it was like literally down to the last 10 seconds. It was for a thrilling finish. I mean, so was this one. Thankfully, dodged that, job done. I had to include Liquid being falling to his death. Death in quotation marks. But yeah, that boss fight has long frustrated me. You'll notice I don't pick up the rations. There are free rations around there. If you're using rations, please use them for the love of God. They'll help you out massively. But the main thing here is not tanking damage, basically. And this was a really poor start. So I'm finding it hard to believe that this is the run that worked. Do not take free hits there. Just flip one, run to the gun, do what you need to do. Keep flipping. That'll knock them out. And that'll give you an easy go at this. And just shoot the damn barrels. Hold square, hold triangle, use the left stick. You'll get through this easily. Probably should have killed that guard because he got another hit. So there are 2 checkpoints to clear. The first one is just about hitting the barrels, so you can do this one pretty quick. Holding triangle and hitting with square is quite some finger movement. I lay my index finger flat on both buttons, so I'm generally just firing all the time. The best way to do it, and then move the left stick. So aim for that barrel. Hitting the barrel will kill the guards. You're going to take one hit there, unfortunately. It's not possible to avoid it, as far as I know. But do that with only taking 1 bit of damage, you're all good. Second checkpoint is the most annoying one. So let's see what strategy I go for here. So the trick is to just keep spraying. Just stick to one. Sticking to one guard is the best. Get one down and then just focus on both like this. You know, if you fear that you're doing enough damage, quickly flick to the other one and then go back to who you were taking out. And then, job done. Again, you only want to take 1 hit there. Because Liquid's going to come. And Liquid, oh boy, is he going to ruin your day. Here he is. But this is all you've got to do. And it's worth bearing in mind that on alternate round, there's nothing different here. It's the same game that you're used to playing. So if you've already beat the game once, you're not going to struggle here. So there's not really much to add. It's just about pinning Liquid down. Your finger never really wants to come off square here. Just use first person view. This is the easiest mode of the fight because you just keep in line left to right, right to left, you know, and you'll just keep him pinned down. And if he keeps ducking, perfect. Otherwise, you're going to get a little clip off Famis. This is the hardest hit to do. Get in line when he goes behind you and you can't miss. You just got to keep replicating that, basically. If you feel like sometimes you get caught in these moments where you're like, I'm swearing maybe at him, but it's not working, just give it a quick shimmy left and right, and you should catch Liquid. The bullets have got a weird trajectory at times where you feel like it's a shot that works, and the game just isn't having it like that. But my shimmy was a bit late, but just a quick shimmy left and right, and you'll get him on those moments. And the same's going to go for the side bit. The side bit's the tricky bit, I always think. But once you get through that, guys, you're going to get through the game, providing you're not within like a sliver of health. Because I'm fairly certain we have force damage here. But yeah, get this lined up. Again, a little shimmy. I did it a little bit too late there. But get this lined up, get it right. And you can see I'm starting to do that little shimmy because I'm getting annoyed. But there you go. You got him lined up here. Now it's an easy one. Just get that shot lined up. Keep shimmying like I am left and right. And you're going to get this every time. That's the tricky bit. Some of these shots are a bloody annoyance because you can't really hit him. You are sort of forced to take damage. But if you've got about as much health as I do, you're going to be absolutely fine. That's the game done. Big crash, and I'll end the game there. But just while the credits are briefly rolling, I just want to take a few moments to talk about the playthrough and the walkthrough, rather. I just want to say once again, reiterate, thank you so much for watching and supporting and interacting. This series has been a success for me, way more than I thought it'd been. I thought it'd be a really weird project that I'd do that no one would really care for, that maybe a few people would stumble across, but it seems to have done quite well even in the moment. And if it's helped you get through MGS1 alternate round at all on Integral, on the Master Collection, then that warms my heart. Glad to know it's been useful for somebody. I had a lot of fun playing this. Wish I stuck to the no ration rule earlier for some of the early boss fights like Revolver Ocelot. But if you're looking forward to watching more Metal Gear Solid stuff by me, and it's going to be live next time, please subscribe to the channel, or if do what you want. But check out the channel because we're going to be doing it again, basically. MGS1 included on Extreme, MGS2 and 3 as well on European Extremes for those two. Looking really forward to doing that. Big shout out once again to Glitch and that. Thank you so much for your interactions on the comments. Really appreciated. and I hope you stay with the channel for a long time. But that's basically everything there is to say. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.